Okay, so I thought I would show you how I make my fruit loaf. So in this bowl, I have 140 grams of mixed fruit, mixed dried fruit that you can get from the supermarket. I also have a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of mixed spice. I'm going to add a quarter cup of brown sugar. And then I'm going to pour a cup of tea over this and let that sit with some cling film over the top of it for a couple of hours so the fruit all plumps up and soaks in all of the yummy sugariness and flavour from the spices. Then in about 45 minutes to an hour, I'll start the process of making the dough. Okay, so I've got 350 ml of warm water, so tepid, warm water, not hot, not boiling, warm, tepid water. So what I'm going to do into this, because obviously we've got brown sugar, we've got light brown sugar in the fruit, I'm going to continue with the theme of light brown sugar. So I'm going to take a tablespoon of light brown sugar and add that to the water. And then I'm going to take, it says on this 7 grams, which I've weighed 7 grams. It's a tablespoon of the yeast. The yeast weighs, a tablespoon of the yeast weighs 7 grams. So I'm going to add that to the warm water as well. And I'm going to give that a mix. Wandering around looking for a spoon, it's here. Give it a little mix. Now I'm going to cover that off and set that to one side for a couple of minutes. And then, whilst that's doing its thing, I'm going to just pop this to one side. Whilst it's doing its thing, I'm going to take this bowl, I'm going to weigh out 500 grams of very strong white flour. This is what we're using to make this. This is what helps give it the really good rise. It gives it more protein than normal white flour. So it's more there's a lot more protein in it, which gives it more of a gives the gluten more to go by, gives the yeast more to eat, and gives you a better rise apparently. So I'm going for. So normally you go for 500 grams, but with this I tend to find that if I do 460 grams, it comes out much better. I get a better rise. So 460 grams of strong white flour. So it says room temperature butter, but I haven't got room temperature butter because I've just got it out of the fridge. So we've got 25 grams of butter. I'm just chopping up into little bits, and then I'm going to break up and put into the flour. And then I'm going to add roughly a teaspoon of salt. That'll do. The butter is unsalted, and what I find great is on the side, on this packet, it sets out the 50 gram marks, so you can just go halfway between that and the end, and you've got your 25 grams, so you don't have to weigh so much. You just mark it out and eyeball it. An eyeball for the butter, always good, eyeball. But it gives you a good way of just being able to eyeball it rather than having to stick everything on the scale, which is great. So that's the butter done. Well, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a mix with my hands, but I do first. So I'm just going to switch the butter into the flour quickly, so we've got a little bit of a movement with it, and it's broken up a bit, so the heat of the liquid will help it all mix in better. So I'm just giving it a little breadcrumb treatment. Lift it up, swish it in between your fingers and thumb. Lift it up, swish it between your fingers and thumb. And you just keep going till it's kind of incorporated. As it's not a massive amount of butter, you're not going to get full on breadcrumbs, but you will get it all nicely incorporated into the flour. Away you go. There we go. That's all mixed in. Now, hopefully, at this point, our yeast mixture will have started to activate. It should have bubbles on the top. Oh, look at that. We got it nice and frothy. Looks like the head of a beer. Nice and frothy, nice and activated. We're going to pour that into a little well in the middle of the flour. And then away we go. I'm going to just do it with my hands because it's easier with my hands, and we all love the gooey. I love the gooey sensation. So we just mix in all of the flour and that liquid together. Give it a good mix until we've incorporated every bit of flour and we've got a really nice dough going. And get all of the sides down off of it. Now, I went through the phase of doing this in a stand mixer, and it's great in a stand mixer, that'll get all of the gluten stuff, and you don't have to do quite so many stretch and fold stages, but you can't beat the hand mixed stretch and folds. I just find I just get a nice, I prefer the texture of the bread. So, here we go. And this is our dough so far. Now I'm just going to wash my hands, cover this in cling film, and stick it in the cupboard for 45 minutes till it's doubled in size, and then I'll do my first lot of stretch and folds. So yeah, that is what we're looking for at the moment. And then once it's risen, doubled, like once it's proofed for an hour, doubled in size, we'll then do the stretch and folds and push the air out and stretch it and fold it all in, and then we'll put that back in for another 45 minutes. Then after that, we'll bring it out for a stretch and fold, but in that stretch and fold, we'll then incorporate our fruit. Okay, so we have just got this out of the cupboard, and as you can see, this has definitely doubled in size. So we've had our first proof, and now I'm just going to get my hands nice and clean and wet. Because it's always handy to have wet hands when you're dealing with sticky dough, because it doesn't really stick to your hands so much if they're wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop in, I'm going to stretch it, and I'm going to fold it in. Scoop in, stretch, and fold it in. Scoop in, stretch, and fold it in. And scoop in, stretch, fold it in. I'm going to try and make sure I'm getting all of the dough off the sides, and I'm just stretching and folding it in. And now I'm going to put it back in the cupboard and let it proof again. And the next stretch and fold, we'll add the fruit. Okay, so hands need to be nice and wet. And then we are bringing this all off the edges. We're taking the first handful of this fruit, because that's all nice and plumped up a bit now. First handful of the fruit, we're going to do a stretch and fold over. And we're going to get another handful of fruit and just keep adding the fruit with each fold. Obviously, the dough is wet enough, so we don't really want to add too much of this juice to it, but we do want the fruit in. There we go. We just keep on stretching and folding now till the fruit is evenly dispersed throughout the dough. Don't want to work it too much, but there we go. This is ready for one more proofing with all of this fruit in the dough, and then we can shape it and create a beautiful fruit loaf. Okay, so I've shaped the bread. I have the Dutch oven that's preheated in the oven. So it's all nice and hot and ready for the bread to go in. So we're just going to take the lid off, and we're going to go and grab of the loaf of bread that we've shaped. Okay, so we're going to show you what we've got. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. Now, as I said, I don't have my usual scoring tool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these scissors and I'm going to cut three slices in it, in the hopes that will help it to breathe and expand and let out any gases as it grows. This time round, I am going to try and do it with the greaseproof paper not covering the top, and see if that helps with the shape as it shapes and grows and rises in the oven. The lid's going on, and into the oven it goes. Okay, time for the reveal so far. Wow, just look at that. Absolutely stunning. Now, I'm going to pop this back in the oven for another 5 minutes, just so we get a nice crust on the top. And here is our fruit loaf. It's really hot, obviously really hot, but it's a beautiful shape to the loaf, and it is quite a nice rise to it too. I'll check back in a little while once it's cooled down enough to cut off a slice. So here's the loaf. Just got it on a cooling rack for a little while because it is El Scorchio straight out of the oven. So yeah, beautiful slice, beautiful loaf. Will be brilliant for toasting tomorrow, fruit toast, and today absolutely stunning while still warm with some butter on and a cup of tea. Yummy. But there we go. There's the first slice taken off. Oh, look how beautiful and aerated and crusty the crust is of this bit of butter. Absolutely stunning. You can see that it's still piping hot and the steam's coming off, but I thought I'd just take a little slice off to show you what it looks like inside. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm well happy with that. So, we've got some butter on. Let's give it a taste. The flour and the bread pan are in the basket. Give it a go. Oh my god. Can't be beaten. Homemade fruit bread.